Hi guys, so I am 18 weeks and 1 day pregnant today, and it's so funny because before I started filming I actually had to go on the computer and see how many exact weeks, days I am, because I'm like, oh, it was around 16, then it was around 17, I'm like, okay, today's 18. In the beginning I knew it was week 5, week 6, and now it's going so fast now it feels like. So this past week was very exciting because Daddy felt the baby kick for the very first time, and I was feeling the baby kick a lot, but I didn't know if it was so much that I was just feeling it from the inside. I'd put my hand on the outside and feel it, I thought, but I could feel it from the inside too, so I wasn't sure. And then we were laying in bed one morning and I was feeling it, so I put his hand, and it kicked once, and I go, did you feel that? He's like, no, and then it did it again. And I'm like, did you feel that? He's like, yeah, right here. And he's pointing right where it was. So I'm like, yay, he finally felt it. Because I was trying to get the kids to feel it too. Sitting in the living room, I was putting their hands on my belly, and they were like, oh, the baby's moving, but they couldn't feel it. So they were getting so excited and then couldn't feel it anyway. Sleeping okay at night. Not great because my kids I have don't sleep. But it's so funny because I'm I want to sleep on my left side all the time. But then my husband sleeps to the right of me, so I feel bad turning my back to him, but I want to sleep on my left because that's how I feel most comfortable. And I don't know if I need to be yet because I'm in the second trimester, and I heard that's more a third thing, but I'm always wanting to sleep on my left, or I'm nervous that I'm going to hurt something or pinch something or whatever. For the past week, I've had a cold, and I thought at first, because it was just sneezing and snotty and whatever, I didn't know if it was a pregnancy thing or a sick thing, but then it kept going and going and getting worse, and then everybody in the house got the cold too, so then I knew it wasn't just a baby thing. So I'm looking right into the camera. I got my list here of what I want to talk about. Still don't have a job, and I don't think I'm going to before the baby comes. I took someone's suggestion and looked into seasonal jobs, and I called Walmart, which is the biggest place around us. We're in a really small town, and that's the biggest name place. So I called them, and they said they haven't hired seasonal help for the past 2 years. They just use their regular staff, and they've been fine. So they're not hiring anyone for the winter seasonal Christmas season. So a couple word of mouth babysitting jobs I've been talking about I got to look into. It's 20 to 30 hours a week for 2 kids, which would be good, but I don't think they know I'm pregnant, and most people are interested when they hear about my background and that I have a degree and blah, 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 and then when they find out I'm pregnant, they're like, oh, well, not, which I can understand because I could see how people don't want to send their child somewhere knowing in a couple of months that they're going to have to leave for at least a month and then come back again if at all, because chances are they're going to go somewhere else and then want to just stay there. So it's difficult. I was talking to a woman who I was referred to by a family member. A family member is very good friends with her who owns a daycare, and she was willing to talk to me. She knew I was pregnant, but she doesn't have any openings in her daycare for me, for a worker. She was talking to me on the phone for probably a half an hour, and she was saying that I didn't even say I wanted to bring my kids, but she's going on about how she wouldn't have room for my 3-year-old, she wouldn't have room for the baby. But even if I found another babysitter to watch them, she didn't have room for me either. So, she wants me to come meet her today and fill out an application just for the future. So, I doubt anything is going to come of it, but, doesn't hurt to try. And her biggest recommendation for me was to start my own family home daycare, and I couldn't do that till after the baby came. And even then, my son goes to preschool 2 days a week while he's 3. Next year when he turns 4, he'll be going 5 days a week just in the mornings from 9 to 12 or 9 to 11:30 I think it is. But I have to drive him every day, so I would have to drive my son plus my new baby plus 1 or 2 kids every day somewhere. And I read that most auto insurance companies don't cover kids that aren't yours if they get hurt in your car. God forbid something happened on the way to school or way back or something like that, I'd be in a whole heap of trouble. And I was also reading online about all the insurance that you have to have in your house in case somebody gets hurt in your house. You have to have, I mean, granted, everything's baby-proof anyway. People come in, they got to inspect before they give you your license, and I don't think I'd be able to do it anyway, even just with the driving thing. Like, I don't really want to drive other people's children, especially when I have to do it every single day, and then come winter, it's going to be crazy. So, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to do between now and February, and then I guess we could figure something out then. If I could find, after the baby comes, a weekend job, which is the original plan, that would be perfect because my husband's home on the weekends. He would have the kids, so I wouldn't have to leave them with somebody else, and then I could work on the weekends. So that's my main idea. We'll see what happens. Or if I could just find someone to babysit after the baby comes. But then I'd still have to deal with the driving thing, but we'll see. I do have one person, I was going to say some people, really it's only one person, that I babysit for once in a while right now. A friend of mine lives right down the road, who's got a 2-year-old daughter, but it's like an hour here, 2 hours there. It's not much. We're finding out soon what the baby's gender is. Our ultrasound's at the end of the month, and I'm so excited. I'm trying to think of like a fun, creative way to announce it to YouTube and on my Facebook, and to our family and friends too. When I announced that we were pregnant to my mom, I made my son a shirt that said, "I'm going to be a big brother," and we came home one day and I said, "Oh, I got to change Oliver's shirt because he has a nice school shirt on," and so I changed him and he came out, and my mom was like, "Oh," and read his shirt and started crying. So I wanted to find a nice, like, fun way to tell him the gender too. I read about gender cakes where you cut the cake and it's pink or blue inside, so I thought about that. Or I could do a t-shirt thing again. I want to do some kind of video for Facebook. So we'll figure it out after we find out. I have a friend of mine that has clothes left over from her baby boy that she kept for me, so I'm like, as soon as I know what I'm having, I'll let you know, and then we can get the clothes from her. Not that, I mean, if we have a baby girl, some baby boys' clothes are fine anyway, pants especially, and pajamas where nobody sees them at night anyway. Thing I found out about a crib this week. I was reading in Parents Magazine about how the drop side cribs are dangerous and you can't use them anymore. Both my son and my daughter was bought a crib before we had her, and then we used the same crib for her and my son, but it's a drop side crib. They say it's not safe. I'm not putting a child in there. If it was like, cribs freak me out because when babies are sleeping and I'm sleeping, baby's not being attended. You know what I mean? Because I'm asleep. So if something were to happen, I wouldn't know about it because I would also be asleep. So the crib has to be like 100% the safest thing you possibly have for the baby, in my opinion. So next to the car seat. So we need a new crib, bottom line. So one I found, I was trying to find a nice one that wasn't a crazy lot of money because we weren't planning on buying another crib. There's one that's like $109 or $119, something like that. I think it's Greco on the Walmart.com site. We haven't really decided on like, oh, I like this name, and this name. There's a couple floating around. There's one boy name I really like my husband can't stand. And then there's a couple girl names I like, but we're not going to like seriously be like, which name is it, which middle name is it, until we know what we're having. So then we don't have to worry about the other gender. I want to do a baby name, guess name, where like I give you hints and stuff and see if anyone can guess the correct name and middle name. We'll do that after I announce the gender. I also still have my ExpectNet game that'll have the link where you can guess babies, like due date, height and weight and stuff like that. You can guess gender on there too, but I'm going to tell everyone the gender before that, so you can guess and then see if you're right or wrong on that part early. But I think that's it for now. My daughter started kindergarten, and my son started preschool since I last filmed. My daughter loves kindergarten. She's doing great. My son, today, he only goes Thursdays and Fridays. So today is he went Thursday, Friday last week, and cried each day. I dropped him off. And then today we got all the way to the classroom, and he was fine. He was saying about how some of the other little boys and girls were crying, and then I looked down, and he's rubbing his eyes, and then I'm like, okay, bye, and he's like, ah. So, but after I leave, he usually calms down, so they tell me. So, I don't know, he's going to have to get used to it, but it sucks. And especially, like, my husband dropped him off the very first day because I knew he was going to be hysterical. Then the Friday, I had to bring him. I dropped him off in the classroom where he was crying. I left to go to the bathroom where I was crying because, like, I say if I wasn't pregnant it wouldn't be so bad, but just hearing him cry, I was just like a mess too. So I'm like in the bathroom trying to calm down and have it not so noticeable. But yeah, so I guess that's all for this week, and we will see you next week. Let me know if you have any gender reveal ideas for me. Thanks, guys. Bye.